Shadows of Men, a play by Colin Speer Crowley. Time, April of 1937, during the Spanish Civil War. Place, the gargantuan lobby of the Hotel Florida in Madrid, Spain, and other nearby locations, namely the hotel room of John Dos Passos, the apartment of Jose and Margarita Robles, and a parade ground outside Madrid. Act 1. A loud explosion sounds from offstage, distant, but not too distant. An equally loud flash of light accompanies the cacophony. Another explosion follows, then another, growing in intensity, each accompanied by one or more flashes of light. We are in a war zone of some sort. Another loud explosion and another blast of light, but this one is different from the rest. It seems to be the end of the barrage. Instant silence follows the finale. The light, however, remains. It has lit up the figure of a gangly, bald twig of a man standing center stage. His name is John Dos Passos, and he looks like a college professor who has become ensconced too long behind his lantern. We sense a calm, serene air about the man, which might easily be mistaken for opaque banality, but not quite. There is something earthy, something real in the man that begs our trust.
What makes a man? I've often wondered and wondered for an answer that always seems to elude me. Is it the flesh and bone we see before our eyes? Is it the spiritual soul inside that somersaults like a breeze in our lungs? Or is it something grander still? It seems indeed at this time of history that man only exists in the plural, as men. Men who come together to fight for a cause that they cannot hope to understand or win on their own. Perhaps that unity of purpose is what makes us uniquely human. And if so, then we live in an age for celebrating such humanity. The year is 1937, and borders between countries have been replaced by borders between causes. Communism, fascism, socialism, capitalism. Perhaps, just perhaps, a man is made by the cause to which he dedicates himself, which is to say that anyone who does not take up a cause might as well have been born a mongoose.
A spotlight rises on a table in the darkness. A stalwart-looking handsome, determined man, aged 30 to 40, is sitting behind it, Jose Robles. We immediately sense a certain grandiose bearing about him that demands our respect and excites our curiosity. He wears official-looking attire that indicates some indeterminate position in both military and governmental circles.
My friend, you sound homesick.
I may well be. And for a home that isn't even mine. It's your home, and I am most envious of you.
Envious? Of me?
Let us say admiring.
You are the world-famous novelist.
You are the one who's a soldier.
You flatter me. I am not a soldier.
In my eyes, you have always been at least that.
Not when there are actual men dying in the field.
Yet still, Jose, you are a man of action.
Like many men, those for who else will act if man does not? I was on vacation in Spain when I learned that the monarchy was overthrown. My feet told me to return to Johns Hopkins and stand behind my lectern, but my heart insisted on staying. I couldn't leave it behind in Spain, so the rest of me stayed as well. And now here I am. I knew I would miss my life in America, but I knew something else too. I knew that history was being written, and I had to have a say in its words. I owed it to everyone who had suffered under the old regime, under any old regime, to show them that man can write a better story, and more than that, that he can write it freely for himself.
So you acted.
So I acted.
And I did not.
Spain is not your country, though.
So Spain is everyone's country, Jose.
I just hope it stays that way.
Why wouldn't it? Franco is losing.
Yes. But that doesn't mean we are winning.
You will. You must. The world will not let you fail. Hitler in Germany, Mussolini in Italy, there cannot be Franco in Spain. The knuckles of the civilized world are bone white from too much clinging to our humanity. We can't let go, not this time. Or we will all fall into the abyss.
That is why you're a writer.
A writer, but not a man of action.
A pen is mightier than the sword.
To a writer, perhaps. Is Margara well?
She is.
And Coco and Margarita?
Both well.
Good. I will hold you to that then when I see them myself.
What do you mean?
I'm coming to Spain.
You're not serious, Dulce.
Yes, I am coming in a few months. In April. I am working with a genius director from Holland. Joris Evans. Perhaps you have heard of him. He is a friend of you, of me, of all human liberty. And he's producing a film that will draw attention to the savagery of Franco and his army. I'm coming to Madrid for the film. I will be one of the narrators. It's called The Spanish Earth. And it will shine light on your new republic for all the world to see. The world cannot keep its eyes closed anymore. It has done that for far too long.
Yes, it is true. But it is all the longer since I last saw you.
5 years?
6 years.
All the more reason to see you.
I will count the days.
I will count them with you.
Yes. And before we know it, they will turn into hours.
Another loud explosion causes the spotlight on Robles to fall. Dos Passos is now standing on the stage alone.
What does make a man? Perhaps it's his friends.
Another loud explosion.
Dos, you bastard!
Dos Passos turns to face a huge volcano of a man standing on the stairway, Ernest Hemingway. He is aged a vibrant 40 and looks not like a statue of some great bearded general who has managed to jump off his perch and stomp through the world like Godzilla. Hemingway has a personality not unlike a vodka breath that can knock over unsuspecting people in a 50-mile radius.
It's nice to see you too, Ernest.
I suppose I should wish you a good morning.
I'd appreciate that, if it weren't the afternoon.
Shit.
I take it you slept late.
I prefer to think that morning came early.
Early or not, you look surprised to see me.
I bet, Juan, that you would run crying back to Valencia before you were within 10 miles of Madrid. I owe him 3 shots of anise. You have more balls than I thought.
I'm flattered.
Don't be. You still have 1 more to go.
You haven't changed a bit, I see.
I don't see any improvements with you either.
I would have to agree with you on those sentiments. How is the filming going?
It's been going swell. You might as well turn around and go home.
I couldn't do that.
You think we need you?
It is more about my needing the cause.
Killing fascists.
Saving the Spanish people.
By helping to kill fascists.
You're like a little boy, Ernest.
Better than being like a little girl, Dos.
Perhaps.
You know what happens to little girls?
No.
They grow up and they get fucked.
Of course.
You want to grow up and get fucked?
Not particularly.
That's because it's always better to be the fucker than the fuckee. It's the same with fascists. They're either going to fuck us or we're going to fuck them. It's not about workers frolicking like fairies in the cornfields together.
Perhaps not, but we'll agree to disagree. I suppose I shouldn't be so spoiled either way. I'm just glad you've managed to find a cause greater than yourself. I'm sure a wonderful novel will come out of it. Maybe even a sequel.
Only assholes write sequels. By the way, congratulations on finishing your trilogy.
I appreciate that, thank you.
I saw your mug on the cover of Time.
You are too kind.
No, I'm not. I took the goddamn thing and I tossed it out the window.
I take it you did not approve.
I was conducting an experiment.
Did you learn anything?
Yeah, time doesn't fly.
For us, Ernest, I think it does. And has. We've been friends for a long time, you and I.
Too long.
I doubt friendship can ever be too long.
That's because you have not met you.
Granted, yes, I lack a certain perspective.
You do. And do you know what I lack?
Do I only get one option?
Food! Huh. I asked you to bring food from Valencia. Franco's army's outside the city and they're blockading my stomach. I've been reduced to a sex and whiskey diet.
My sincere apologies, then, to you and your liver. I'm afraid the concept of food rather slipped my mind. I was rushing to Madrid to look for someone.
For who?
For whom?
Screw you.
Friend of mine. Jose Robles?
I remember him.
You've never met him.
I have, in my nightmares. From your drawing on and on about him.
He's my friend.
Well, what the hell am I?
You're my friend as well.
So you're going to let your friend starve?
Oh, Ernest, I think you have enough grain in your silo.
I wish we weren't friends so I could hate you.
Why should that stop you?
Dos Passos looks up and notices a sphinx-like statue of a woman descending the staircase. Her name is Martha Gilhorn, and she has a solid, hard, intense sexual nature about her. One can't help but think of a female praying mantis that would gladly bite off the head of her mate if given the chance. This ferocity is oddly paired with a godly, all-knowing aura, which is made all the more discomforting by the fact that it is emitting in complete cold silence.
Ah! Thus! I'd like to introduce you to Martha Gellhorn. Collier's sent her to report on the war. She's the best goddamn journalist I've ever known, biblically or otherwise. She knows more about this war than anyone, including Franco. This is John Dos Passos, the second greatest novelist in America. You may have met Gellhorn here.
I'm afraid not, no.
The pleasure is mutual.
It's an honor to meet you, Miss Gellhorn.
Don't call me miss. Makes me sound so virginal. I'm not.
I can vouch for that.
Ernest says you are a woman who knows many things.
He would be right.
Perhaps you've heard of a friend of mine, Jose Robles?
I've heard the name.
Do you know where he is?
No, I only keep track of important people.
Where are you going now?
I'm going to the top of the Telefonica building to show my ass to Franco's gunners on the hill.
Sounds like fun. I'll be up soon.
Don't be late. I hate men who come late.
Gellhorn exits.
So, Ernest, how's your wife?
Same as always. Getting older. And yours?
Katie's doing well. She decided to stay back in Paris.
Glad to know she hasn't left you. It must be your mind.
Is that what you like about Miss Gellhorn? Her mind?
That depends on whether or not it's thinking about me.
Ah, him. Modest as always.
Dos Passos turns to find a good-natured looking man has entered through the front door. His name is Juan Posada, and he is chief of police of Madrid. He has a certain Sancho Panza-like bearing about him that might easily lull someone into a false sense of security. Thrilled to see Posada, Dos Passos walks to him and they embrace.
Juan,
Dos.
you look like a fascist in that suit.
Is it not true? I look like one, yes. But you know, I still feel like the little boy stealing bread from the grocer's cart. Who would ever think it? Now the little crook is chief of police of Madrid. I wear the uniform, yes, but my heart is still the heart of that little boy. And now? Now most of the men who used to arrest me have themselves been arrested.
I suppose that's justice.
I suppose that's life. I do not pretend it all is just. You owe me 3 shots of anise, him.
I know, goddammit! You don't have to remind me.
But I do.
The Casa Cabana, tonight. Don't be late. Miss Gellhorn hates men who come late. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date on top of the Telefonica building.
Hemingway loosens his pants and crosses to the front door.
Don't do anything I would do. You probably wouldn't survive it.
Hemingway drops his pants, showing off some gaudy shorts, and exits through the front door.
I sense some fury in our friend.
Fury, yes, but that is how Ernest expresses friendship these days. You know, he spoke a different language when he and I were struggling riders in search of company. When poverty smiles on you, you are happy for companionship. When success slaps you in the face, you come to expect adulation. Companionship, in comparison, is a rather awkward step down. It's worse when one of a pair is more successful than the other.
You mean you? Or him?
No one knows. That's the problem.
Of course. Have you checked into the hotel?
Not yet, no. I haven't seen any member of the staff.
Forgive us. We are civilized too in Spain. But bread comes before etiquette. The city has not been the same since Franco's army encircled us last year. The government fled, I say with shame, but most of the people stayed. You see, my friend, the people are the root of the tree. Governments are merely the leaves. And like leaves, they fall.
I remember you were saying that to me 20 years ago on that mountainside in Toledo. Back then, I was more concerned about my falling than the government.
That is because you are American. Your government doesn't fall. It just changes color with the seasons.
Sometimes. Not even then.
I take it you noticed the Russians.
I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for them.
You're not, because none of us are supposed to know they're here. The Republic would be a corpse by now, if not for the brigades they are organizing and the arms they are shipping to us. Comrade Stalin's support is turning many people in Spain against the democracies. We do not get help from the American, French, and British governments.
Well, I'm afraid brave actions are not typically found on the resumes of our statesmen.
A gentleman comes down the stairway, Ramon Mayaguez. He looks intriguingly like Jose Robles. Dos Passos sees him and immediately shoots towards him.
My God! Jose, is that...
Dos Passos freezes upon getting a closer glimpse of the man. Mayaguez is clearly not Jose Robles. He has a mustache that distinguishes his face and adds a dark, mysterious nature to the man. His dress is a very matter-of-fact, colorless, drab, businesslike. There is an ambiguous nature about the man that reminds one of the vague and the sinister.
You must be Senor Dos Passos?
Must be, yes, and frequently am.
This is Ramon Mayaguez. He is the escort for Evans Group, courtesy of the Spanish government.
I apologize, Senor, that I was not here to serve you. I was assisting another guest with a window. It shattered after the last barrage. But you're short of staff.
How many people work here?
Including me? 1. I am the concierge, the cook, the cleaner.
You wear many hats?
I have many faces.
He means heads.
All this for the making of a film.
Your film, my friend, could play an important part in keeping freedom alive here in Spain. The American, British, and French governments will only declare for us if they are pressured to do so by their people. For this to happen, our story must be told. And you're a storyteller. The truth for us is worth even more than armaments. Almost.
Is that why the government condescends to let Miss Gellhorn strip on top of the Telefonica building?
That, yes, and to raise the morale of the city.
I apologize, Senor.
There is no reason to apologize.
I mean before, when you first entered, I thought you were perhaps a friend of mine. You know him, Juan, Jose Robles?
I do. And since the revolution, I've come to know him more. He was working in the Ministry of War.
Was.
Is.
I'm glad then, because I was growing concerned. I haven't heard from Jose in a while, and no one seems to know where he is. I even asked the Minister of Information during my welcoming reception in Valencia, and...
You asked the minister?
Yes, but he knew nothing.
He is a busy man.
Well, I understand, but with the fog of war that people can get lost, I don't suppose you would be able to...
I'll check with my friends. I have many friends in the city. Everyone wants to be friends with the chief of police. I'm much better than a defense attorney.
Thank you, Clem. I appreciate your willingness to help.
Of course, my friend. You're a guest of the Republic.
Posada exits the front door. A loud explosion sounds and causes the hotel to shake.
You have a beautiful country, Senor. It means a great deal to me. I was here many years ago when I was a young man. I wanted to fight in the Great War, but my father prepared a live son to a dead one. He sent me to study in Spain instead, and I poured out all my youthful energies into fields and mountains and cities and slums and people. I received back more than I could have ever hoped or dreamed of. Spain to me is youth and hope and promise. And now, well, now it is that and more besides. You have a new government, a new country, a new chance. You are the future. And this old man wants to be a part of it. Perhaps a little less old in the process.
Another loud explosion sounds. This one is even louder and more furious than the one before. It is followed by an equally loud cry from someone outside the hotel.
Ah!
Has someone been hurt?
No, that is Senor Hemingway.
You goddamn fascist sons of bitches!
Who is he yelling at?
Probably Franco's army.
I don't think even Ernest's voice could carry that far.
Hit me, you bastards! I dare you! I dare you!
Another loud explosion. Instant silence.
You missed me, you goddamn sissies!
Franco needs better aim.
A hectic, hurried woman comes bustling down the staircase. Josephine Herbst. She is about 40, plain-looking, very banal, bordering on mediocrity, yet managing to retain a certain brilliance about her. We sense that Josie to her friends, is a well-meaning woman who is frustrated at being a second-rate journalist despite the hard work she puts into her craft. Hectically entering, Josie rushes over to Mayaguez like a fluttering bird.
Senor Mayaguez!
Good day, señorita.
The other window in my room just shattered.
I will be upstairs in a moment to fix it.
You needed better glass when there's a war going on.
Hello, Josie.
Dos! Oh my god! How long have you been here?
Almost an hour now.
It's good to see you.
Is it?
Yes! It's just... this war is getting on my nerves. I was hoping we'd be sleeping a little less close to the front.
Fuck you, Franco!
And farther from him.
How long have you been here?
I arrived 4 weeks ago. Seems like 4 years.
You'll never catch me alive!
Who are you on assignment for?
The North American Explorer.
I've never heard of them.
That's what I was afraid of.
I'll eat you assholes for breakfast!
I gather Ernest thinks the war is between him and Franco.
It may come down to that.
Heaven help democracy.
Honestly, Gus, I'm so glad that you're here. Him and that woman of his are driving me up these extremely thin walls. I'm sleeping in the room right above theirs. I hear almost everything, all night long. You can imagine how terrifying it is.
You said you've been here 4 weeks.
4 long weeks.
Have you heard anything about Jose?
Jose?
Jose Robles.
Oh, yes. I mean, no, I haven't. Why do you ask?
It's been months since I've heard from him. The last letter I received was almost 4 months ago. I've been asking about him, but no one seems to know anything.
That's odd.
I thought perhaps maybe you've heard something. You always manage to have good connections.
You make me sound like a real journalist. A train in the Yukon has more connections than I do.
Yes, but your connections actually lead somewhere.
I think you're getting me confused with Gellhorn.
No, Josie. I've known you for many years. I mean, you could hunt down a fox better than the hounds. Jose's old address in Valencia was vacant when I checked there. He and his family have moved more than a gypsy caravan.
I'll do my best.
Hemingway enters.
You wait! I'll get you, you fascist asshole! I'll tear you apart and shit on your bones! I hate fucking fascists.
Hemingway exits.
I didn't think Ham would hate fucking anybody.
The window, yes, I'll be up to fix it soon.
Josie exits.
Room 308, senor.
Dos Passos enters. Oh. And Gellhorn enters.
He's a square peg in a round hole.
He's a guest of the government.
The government makes mistakes, which will soon be corrected. You are surprised. Don't be. I know everything.
Only God knows everything.
That's because he talks to me.
Senor Dos Passos could be useful.
Useful. To which side?
The front door of the hotel is suddenly thrown open. A young man, about 20 to 30, good-looking but ruffled, has entered. His name is Liston Oakes, and it appears he is rather nervous about something.
Good afternoon, senor.
Good afternoon to you, too.
I would like to speak to one of your guests. I believe a gentleman, John Dos Passos, is staying with you. He is an acquaintance of mine? A friend? I take it you don't recognize the name.
I do not recognize any name. I'm not at liberty to disclose the identity of our guests. I trust you understand the security situation?
My guest slowly removes a pistol from underneath the reception desk and puts it on the desk.
It could mean life or death.
Yes. Yes, it could. Presuming, senor, that Senor Dos Passos is staying with you, I'd appreciate your letting him know I called. My name is Liston. Liston Oakes. He should remember me. I will try calling for him at another time.
Liston exits.
He won't last long.
Dos Passos enters.
Hello?
Hello.
You said I shouldn't call you Miss Gellhorn. So I'm afraid I still don't know what to call you.
Don't.
Gellhorn exits.
I thought I would go for a walk. Would you recommend any place in town for a bite to eat?
Yes, senor, a place that is still standing.
Miss Herbst needs help with her window.
The view is clear without the glass.
My guest exits. The lights dim intimately until only a spotlight remains on Dos Passos.
I'm waiting, Jose. Waiting to see you again and hoping you will not be disappointed in me. I've become cautious over time and too wary of progress. If I move, I do so like an old man, step by step, tapping the ground with his cane, fearful that the earth may cave in at any moment or that I may step on some unsuspecting insect. All I can do is sit back and watch while the other men stride proudly ahead of me. I only wish I could embrace the journey with such abandon.
The lights rise on Robles at the table in the back. He is writing another letter to Dos Passos.
You lack confidence, Dos.
I lack vision, Jose.
Vision?
Yes, Jose. A far-sighted view of yours that pierces through the present and lets you focus only on the future. I look out at the world and all I can see are the people in front of me. I have difficulty seeing a grander cause, although I feel in my bones it exists. I try, Jose, I try, and I squint and I step back and I look up. Nothing. I admire your vision, and I would borrow your eyes if I could. It seems I am unable to see the forest for the trees, as they say.
There's nothing wrong with that, Dos. You cannot have a forest without them.
I suppose I have become a reactionary.
No, my friend. You are just a gentleman.
And unfortunately, I don't think the world has need of us anymore. Your feet are firmly planted on the battlefield, and you ride the waves of history like a Neptune riding the ocean. I pray someday I will be up there with you.
You are, Dos. You are up there with me, riding the waves, keeping me from drowning. Every day I turn my head and I see a man sitting on my shoulder, whispering into my ear. And he reminds me of humility, of my humanity, my soul. He reminds me of kindness and friendship. And above all, he reminds me that kindness and friendship still exist in this world. I owe my continuing humanity to you, Dos. I cannot tell you how precious and special a gift it is to me. I can understand why they do, but I will never understand why so many of them have no interest in ever grasping it again.
I still wish I could do more.
Just keep whispering into my ear, Dos. Keep whispering.
I cannot wait to see you again.
I'm still counting the days.
You must write me your new address.
I will, yes, in my next letter.
The light on Robles falls.
The next letter never came.
Dos Passos reaches into his coat and takes out a crinkled piece of paper.
Fortunately, you are not my only friend.
The lights rise eerily on the courtyard in the hotel. A woman swiftly enters from some dark recess of the hotel. Margarita Robles. We have been transported to the apartment of Jose and Margarita Robles. Margarita herself is a woman about 40 who strikes us initially as worried, scared, even terrified. There is more, however, to the woman than that. One can't help but sense a marvelous tortured dignity about her that could only be encapsulated in some great Greek sculpture.
Hola, señor. ¿Puedo ayudar?
Hola, Margarita. Siempre que no pudiste.
Oh, Dos. I cannot believe it.
I can barely believe it myself.
Belief is one thing we must have faith in. I had seen in the newspapers that you had arrived in Valencia.
I'm working on a new film project about the war. We're hoping it will make an impact in the States.
It has been many years.
All of 6, as I recall.
My nerves will debate you. They will tell you that it has been many more years than that.
Oh, Margarita. I'm so glad I managed to find you. Spain seems like a foreign country to me without you and Jose in it. I might as well be in Fiji at times.
At times, yes. I would recommend it.
I cannot imagine the horror of the war.
No, Dos, it isn't that. For Jose and me, there has always been a war to fight. Jose was at war with the old government long before we went to war with the old military. I have been fighting alongside him for years. 20 years, God help me. And still I smile. I try to. How did you find the apartment?
A dear friend of mine, Josephine Herbst, a wonderful journalist from the States. I woke up this morning to find Josie gone for the day and a crinkled piece of paper in my coat pocket with your address on it. I can't tell you how many routes I've traveled to find you since I arrived in Spain. I even asked the Minister of Information.
You asked the Minister of Information?
Yes, but he didn't live up to his title.
He said nothing about Jose.
Well, he mentioned that... I don't understand. Is Jose in some kind of trouble? Does the minister know about this?
I don't know, Dos. Everyone seems to know everything and nothing at the same time. Welcome to Spain.
I must speak with Jose.
I wish to God I could.
What do you mean? Where is he?
I don't know. I know nothing. Nothing. I am his wife and I know nothing.
For God's sake. Margara, what happened?
A silhouette of another man, a young, strapping, tall man, appears at the courtyard door. Dos Passos and Margara are oblivious to his presence.
Some men came and took Jose away.
Some men from where? Who are they?
I don't know. They appeared to be from the government, but in Spain, appearances are just appearances. They said they were from the government and that Jose had to be questioned. Jose protested, but they took him away.
This is madness. There must be some sort of misunderstanding. They would have to know that Jose would never think of harming the Republic. He has been fighting for us since the day I met him on that train in Toledo.
I have heard nothing since then from anyone. It has been 4 endless months.
Shortly after Jose's last letter.
The courtyard door slowly opens. Dos Passos and Margara still pay no heed. The man enters with a club in hand and sneaks up behind Dos Passos.
Very few know this, but Jose worked with the Russians.
I don't suppose you'd remember anyone's name in particular.
I do, as it happens. He worked for the general in charge of the Soviet secret police in Spain.
What is this man's name?
The young man lunges at Dos Passos with the club. Dos Passos quickly ducks and the club bangs loudly against the table.
Coco! It's all right! It's Senor Dos Passos.
The young man pauses. He is Francisco Coco Robles, Jose's son, a serious-looking young man who has an indeterminately mature nature about him.
I'm sorry, senor.
Don't be Coco.
I thought you were another one of them. I thought you had come from my mother.
Your mother was just telling me everything that happened.
Do you remember our son, Dos?
I do, yes. There's a tiny little thing running around the inner harbor in Baltimore. Where's your other little one, Marguerite?
She is at school. She is safe.
Nowhere safe.
That's not true.
Death is even safe. You are new here, senor. You may not understand.
I try, and I sometimes do. And please, Coco, call me Dos. My friends do, and even quite a few people who aren't my friends. I hardly see why I should deny you the option. You're a strapping young man now. You remind me of your father when he was younger. Or perhaps of a better me. Yeah, I was dreaming of going off to war at your age.
Odd, senor Dos. I'm dreaming of getting out of one.
Pity we couldn't go back in time and switch places.
We are very proud of our Coco. He works in the Ministry of Information as a clerk.
I do not like the ministry anymore.
He is angry because of his father.
I hate them. I hate the Russians. I hate the Republic.
I understand how you feel, Coco. But your father wouldn't want you to let your anger darken your view of the new Spain. Your father fought for that Spain, and he's fighting for it still, and he'll be fighting for it long after the Republic has triumphed and the cameras and correspondents have left the battlefield. I'm sure this whole incident is just some terrible misunderstanding. I will make inquiries about your father from every resource I know. Celebrities from America seem to be highly valued these days, and apparently I'm one of them.
And if you cannot find the answer?
I will.
Your sister is getting out of school soon. Please, go pick her up. She cannot be alone. Not anymore.
Coco exits.
The Soviet general's name is Gorev.
I will ask about him. Maybe he would know something.
He probably knows the least of all.
Then I will find someone else who knows.
I have something for you, Dos.
Margara takes out a crinkled, damaged letter.
The night he was taken, Jose was writing this letter to you. The men dropped it behind him.
I suppose I should go now. You look so very tired.
I am tired all the time now. Living is tiring enough.
Makara exits. The lights fall on the courtyard. A spotlight shines on Dos Passos as he opens the letter and begins to read it. Another light rises on a weary Robles at the table in the back. He is writing the same letter to Dos Passos.
Greetings, my friend. I finally have a free moment to write to you. It seems I have less and less time to write and even less time to think. The world is busy and its people are busier, and Spain's people are the busiest of them all, as you shall soon see for yourself. I realize every day that my eyes have waited too long to see you. Here in Spain we have countrymen, comrades, but not friends. To think the next time we speak, paper and ink will not be our voices. It is just as well, for I have many things to tell you. I'm afraid I have not been well, and neither has Spain. The Republic is winning, but its body is slowly dying. We are fighting 2 wars now, one with Franco, one with ourselves. I do not know if we can survive them both. Not for much longer.
The lights rise again in full on Hotel Florida. The front door of the Hotel Florida swings open. Hemingway bulldozes in, followed by Gilhorn, Josie, and Posada.
So I said to that beady-eyed fascist, Hitler-loving son of a bitch, your asshole will be the destination of every fucking boot in Spain when your sissy-ass Franco is strung up by his balls. And you know what he said? He told me to fuck myself. I told him I'd already had the pleasure. Hey now, speaking of pleasure, we have the life of the party over here. Dos! I'm talking to you.
Good morning, Ernest.
Good afternoon, Dos.
Is it really? I've lost track of time.
And your senses. Where were you today? You just got here and you missed the 3rd filming with Evans. What the hell is the point of having you around? You're a shitload to look at. You don't sew, you don't cook, you don't sing, you don't fuck. Even Gellhorn here can do all that.
Except cook.
That's right, she can't cook worth a damn.
When I do, though, you'll eat it.
I'd rather eat shit.
That can be arranged.
Hello, Los.
Hello, Josie.
It's been a long day.
Did the filming go well?
We're still alive, if that's what you mean.
Ernest spent most of the time running back and forth on top of the trenches, shouting at Franco's army.
I'm sorry I couldn't have attended.
It's not a goddamn Sunday school.
I wasn't talking to you, Ernest.
Hell, I'll answer what I want to answer.
Thank you for the warning.
So, Dos, will you bless us with your presence tomorrow?
I might, I'm not sure.
You might. You're not sure.
I've been busy, Ernest.
Doing what? Doing who?
Looking for a friend.
Your little Spanish amigo?
His name is Jose.
What's his last name? Christ?
Not quite, but what if it were?
Then I'd give a damn, because only a fucking miracle worker could warrant so much airtime.
I consider any friend a miracle worker.
Then shit, you need to get out more.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Look, Ernest, I really don't care.
There's a war going on out there, you stupid nearsighted son of a bitch. There are fascist bombs landing in parks and playgrounds around the city. There are people getting their brains blown out by Franco's goons, and you're standing there whining about Jose. You're like a record player stuck on the worst goddamn tune. Give a shit about the million other Joses in this country for a change.
I do, Ernest. But if I can't care for one man, how can I care for a million?
Try some goddamn imagination.
Imagination doesn't make a man disappear.
That's because you haven't tried hard enough.
Perhaps.
You must really think you're some kind of saint flying above all the carnage and the chaos and the crap. You sit there and you cry about a single grain of sand when there's a huge storm coming up the coast. Hurricane Franco. After him, Hurricane Mussolini. After him, Hurricane Hitler. After them, the deluge. All the goddamn sands on the beach will be tossed into hell anyway, your friend included. This isn't time to be looking for some goddamn Dr. Livingston. Am I right, Juan?
Always him.
Good. You're a survivor, just like the government that pays you. It's going to survive, and I'm damn well going to do my part to make sure that it does. What are you going to do, Dos?
I'm going to find my friend.
You're a fucking loser, Dos. And to think I once thought you might have been a better man than me. I remember when you used to have intestines of steel in that little velvet stomach of yours. I remember when you could see the future without putting on bifocals. What the hell happened to that old friend who wrote about freedom and justice? He shriveled up like a leathery old man and retired to his library. He used to be red all over, but now he's piss yellow like a
banana.
A banana, yeah. But that's a little too phallic to describe you, isn't it, Dos? What? Say it. Say it.
I have nothing to say.
That's a good little Benedictine.
Which reminds me, I want a drink.
Then let's go. I want to see you double and do you triple.
Hemingway exits.
I know where your friend is.
But you know where Jose is.
Someplace you wouldn't expect. Check the ocean.
The ocean.
Yes, I saw him the other day. Walking on a water.
Gellhorn exits.
She is a character.
Is that what they call it these days?
I never knew Ernest was so passionate about politics.
He's passionate about any passing fad that gets him attention.
Like Gellhorn.
Yes, and she has friends in political places.
I would too, but no one wants to sleep with me.
Miguez enters.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Ramon.
I do hope the filming went well.
Very well. Thank you.
Senor Dos Passos does not look so pleased.
Senor Dos Passos didn't make it to the filming.
A pity.
Evans wasn't too thrilled about that, my friend.
I know the feeling. Not too thrilled about many things myself. I'm sorry, I need some time alone.
I will let you be then.
Does the name Goriev mean anything to you?
Be careful, my friend, of the questions you ask. You may not like the answers.
Posada exits, followed by Miguez.
You don't look well.
It's about Jose.
Oh dear.
I went to his apartment the other day and I met his wife, Margara. She said something about not having seen Jose in about 4 months. He was taken away one night by some men who claimed to work for the government. I don't understand. Jose is the most loyal supporter of the Republic I know. Margara says the men took him in for questioning.
Jose hasn't been seen since?
Perhaps, Josie, you could explore your connections and...
Connections. We went through that before. I've not been able to find out anything from anyone. That's what happens when you're not William Allen White.
Yes, but Jose's apartment...
What about it?
How did you find it?
How did I find it?
Yes, you put that slip of paper in my coat pocket with the apartment address on it. Didn't you?
I couldn't find anything. Look, Dos, it's obvious that you're tired. Too tired. I think you need to get some sleep. Maybe your friend was taken in for some questioning, that's all. There are times when things are not what they appear to be, even in Spain. There's a war going on. Everyone is paranoid. Everyone is antsy. I'm paranoid and antsy and downright scared to death all at once. I'm sure the government is the same. They may have just needed to check on Jose and make sure he wasn't, well, you know, a fascist.
A fascist?
You smile, but the government may think.
The government couldn't even hold on to Madrid. The people are the ones who held the city. It seems the latter should be judging the former. I mean, at least Franco's government doesn't retreat when they're besieged by the enemy.
Don't say that too loud, Dos.
Why not?
Because
Because what?
someone might think you're a fascist too.
Well, what do you mean, too?
Well, I just mean that.
Jose is not a
I
fascist.
didn't say that he was.
Jose is my friend.
That doesn't mean that he wasn't a fascist.
Believe me, I would know if he were.
They're everywhere, Dos.
Lies are everywhere, Josie.
I didn't mean to make you upset.
I know, Josie. I'm sorry for getting upset. You're a dear friend to me. I know you mean well to the world and to all the people who live in it. If you were lost, I'd be searching for you like I'm searching for Jose.
Even if I were a fascist?
Especially then,
Especially why?
because that would mean you really needed my help.
Friendships like that can get you killed.
That's what makes friendships worth having.
What about him?
What about him?
If him were lost, would you search for him?
Of course. Someone has to make sure he behaves himself.
A loud explosion sounds and causes the stage to quake with fear.
Get down!
Dos Passos and Josie duck just as another explosion blasts. We hear the sound of glass shattering.
There goes my window again.
Another loud explosion. The lights instantly fall. More explosions sound, but this time they are different in tone. The explosions have turned into fireworks, bursting in some nearby sky. We soon hear cheers welling up underneath the crackling. They appear to come from a hungry crowd of thousands. This clamor is accompanied by the staticky sound of a radio broadcast and the martial tune of a splendid, superbly grandiose nature. We have been transported to a parade outside of Madrid. A radio broadcast plays.
Good evening, comrades of the world. I am reporting from outside Madrid in free, Republican Spain, where liberty is waging a gallant war against fascism. Today, the community is gathered to celebrate the transfer of the 15th International Brigade to the government of the Spanish Socialist Republic. Dignitaries from far and wide have come to show their support for the freedom and liberty of the Spanish workers. The Prime Minister of Spain, Francisco Largo Capadaro, is now taking the podium to speak.
A strange silence overcomes the broadcast. A man with an intense, domineering, rather foreboding voice speaks in Spanish. The radio broadcaster translates under him.
Greetings, soldiers in the struggle against fascism. I have come here tonight to celebrate this great occasion and to thank Comrade Stalin for his support of the Spanish people. This action today shows the brotherhood of mankind, comrade helping comrade, worker helping worker. We are united together in the struggle against fascism, and we will not rest until every fascist has faced the people's justice.
The radio broadcaster's voice fades into silence as the spotlight rises on the back of the stage. Robles is sitting at the table composing the letter to Dos.
And so, my friend, I end this letter on a somber note, and I hope you receive it before you leave for Spain. Because you should not come here.
But why, Jose?
I have told you why.
I know, but still,
When I first returned to Spain, I saw a choice between right and wrong, and I knew which cause was mine. I nailed my colors to its mast, proud, bold colors flying in the wind, embracing the gales of the enemy. Now, Dos, everything has changed. We don't support causes, we choose sides. Perhaps that was all we were really choosing to begin with.
do you really mean that?
As long as I can remember, I dreamed of being a liberator, a savior, a champion of a cause greater than life itself, leading mankind in its onward march towards paradise. But I have learned such men do not always build better worlds.
I don't understand.
When you lead a march, you must expect to lose people on the way. People who can't keep up and you are simply left behind. But still, you must keep marching. You cannot go back for those men, so you just abandon them to the wilderness. I have watched too many men fall behind those. And when I recognized myself among them, I knew that everything truly was lost. And the Jose Robles who now leads that march, he is just a ghost of the man I was and the dreams I used to dream.
You mustn't believe that.
I have to, Dos, because it's true, and yet there is something still that gives me hope. You see, there are other men out there too, quiet men, good, but quiet, feeling their way through the darkness of the world, searching for the hand of someone who's frightened and lost. They don't lead armies, they don't build nations, yet they're there, hands open and outstretched for someone in need. Those are the men who make God smile.
Men like you, Jose.
Men like you, Los.
Well, then we will be human together.
Stay who you are, Los. Don't come here.
There is a knock, knock, knock.
Excuse me, my friend.
Robles leaves the spotlight and walks into the darkness. We can't see much of his movements anymore. We hear the sound of a door opening and some voices.
Hola, señor. ¿Qué quiere?
Buenas noches, camarada Robles. Estoy aquí en el nombre de la República Española y su gente. He sido enviado aquí para detenerlo, para interrogarlo como parte de una investigación muy seria. Este es un asunto de alta seguridad y se requiere su cooperación. Vendrás conmigo y mi colega.
Yo no entiendo.
Enterarás con el tiempo.
No, me voy a entenderlo ahora.
No hay tiempo para la demora.
No me voy con usted. No he hecho nada malo.
No tienes elección.
We hear a door closing, or trying to be closed. A loud stomp follows.
¡Salgan de mi casa!
José, ¿qué está pasando?
Ven conmigo, camarada.
No, quítame las manos de encima.
We hear some ruffled sounds of a struggle. Robles bolts into the light with desperate abandon. An officer in official-looking suit follows him. The officer grabs Robles. Another officer appears behind him in similar dress.
Tú, ¿qué haces aquí?
Quedarse atrás, no vengas aquí.
Robles spits in the officer's face. The officer glares at him and punches Robles square in the face. The spotlight instantly dies. We are brought back onto the parade ground outside Madrid.
The Prime Minister is stepping down from the podium. The commander of the 15th International Brigade will now transfer the baton to the new Republican commander. General Jose Miada will be taking command of the brigade on behalf of the Republic.
A drum roll sounds and sounds and sounds for a seeming eternity. It is rudely interrupted by the violent volley of gunfire.
The 15th International Brigade is now under the control of the workers of Spain.
The crowd goes mad with cheering and euphoria. A band begins to strike up the Internacional. We slowly hear voices in the audience sing along. Gilhorn extends a small red flag with a yellow sickle to Dos Passos.
You are not singing.
I have forgotten the words.
Stay. We shall remind you.
Gilhorn shoves the red flag into Dos Passos' hand. Liston Oaks appears next to Dos Passos.
Hello, Mr. Dos Passos.
Hello, Mr. Oaks.
You remember me, I see.
Dos Passos hands him the flag.
I believe this belongs to you.
Liston exits. Dos Passos has had enough of the festivities and turns to exit the stage.
Going to look for Jose?
You should get some rest, Ernest.
You should get some balls, Johnny.
I'd say that's a fair bargain. Good night, everyone. I'll be waiting for you all in the car. I'm too tired for all of this.
All this what?
Should have thought it was obvious.
Nothing about you is obvious anymore.
Thank you. Predictability is the worst kind of consistency.
You never answered my question about coming to the filming tomorrow.
Alas, you will have to do without me.
Alas, I already have to do with you.
I can feel your devastation.
Not devastation, just suspicion.
Suspicion.
Hemingway smirks rather loudly. The Internationale strikes up again. Hemingway starts singing it again, even more loudly and obnoxiously than before. He turns one by one to face Josie, Posada, Gellhorn, to get them to start singing. Hemingway then turns towards a silent, brooding Dos Passos. He begins marching towards Dos Passos in an ambiguously threatening way. His voice grows louder and louder, and he waves his arms in wild gyrations like a mad conductor. Dos Passos just stares at this one-man marching band. Hemingway is now within a foot of him.
You don't seem very interested in the festivities.
I'm tired.
You don't give a damn about the goddamn film either.
I am tired.
You don't even give a damn about this goddamn cause.
I am tired, Ernest. Sick and tired.
Of what?
Of everything.
Except your little Spanish friend.
You can't really become sick of a friend.
Yes, you can. You don't give a damn about this cause, and that's a fact!
Human beings are the only fact, Ernest. People. The rest are abstractions and castles of the mind. You're more than welcome to storm the drawbridges, but leave me out of it.
A loud explosion sounds. The Internationale is immediately interrupted. Some muffled cries escape from the unseen crowd.
Does that sound like a fucking abstraction?
No, Ernest. And for that, I thank God. At least there's something real to believe in despite this endless parade of mirages. Mirages, there are actual people out there who are lost and forgotten amidst the speeches and the spectacle. I'm starting to think that a cause is nothing but a lacquered excuse to treat human beings like so much discardable refuse.
You mean Franco?
Not just Franco.
Now he's showing his true colors.
Red with a white circle and a black X.
That's right, Ernest. I'm a fascist. The man down the street is a fascist. The friend who won't give you a loan is a fascist. Your third-grade teacher who disciplined you for turning in your homework late is a fascist. You prove my point with your mindless spewing of chic abuses. This war for you is just another excuse to shout louder than anyone else.
What is it for you then, you son of a bitch?
I don't know anymore.
You don't fucking know?
I'm not thinking about the war. I'm thinking about my friend.
You must love that high horse you're riding on.
That's enough, Ernest.
Too bad it's nothing but a goddamn jackass.
Stop it, Ernest.
Is that the best you can do?
I'm not going to stand here and...
Why don't you tell me to go fuck myself?
We're not all barbarians.
Say it, you bastard.
I won't.
Say fuck.
No.
Fuck.
Stop it.
Fuck. Fuck. Fuck! Stop it! It's easy. It starts with F and it sounds like...
Fascist. He's a fascist, like his friend.
Jose is not a fascist.
And you? Dos?
What about me?
Are you a fascist?
You're sick, Ernest.
No, you asshole! You're sick! Remember? Sick and tired of the film, sick and tired of the war, sick and tired of the Republic, sick and tired of freedom and liberty for the Spanish people, but not sick and tired when it comes to searching for your fascist friend!
Look, Ernest,
who sent you here anyway?
This is ridiculous.
Who are you working for?
I don't believe this.
When did you first learn Jose was a fascist?
I'm not answering that.
Pleading the fifth?
I'm warning you, Ernest.
No. I'm warning you, you fascist scumbag! Keep it up and you'll be arrested too, just like your friend!
How do you know about that?
I know, Dos. I know a hell of a lot of things, and you know why? People trust me. People believe in me. People know I'm not a fascist!
Who? Who told you?
A German reporter.
How long have you known?
Long enough.
How long?
Long enough to watch you wail on and on about a fascist bastard who's already dead.
No, Ernest. You're lying. You're lying.
Jose was executed, Dos.
But why?
What do you think?
I told you to be careful about the questions you ask.
Posada exits.
Look at this, everyone. Johnny Dos Passos is going to start crying for a fascist. I haven't seen him cry when bombs are dropped on any of us. It's only fascists he cries for, and that's because he's one of them. Aren't you? You sick, demented son of a bitch. You're a fascist like your friend. You're a fascist too!
He was my friend.
I still am and always will be.
A spotlight has risen on Robles towards the back of the stage. He appears in rags, clearly roughed up, his hair a mess and bruises on his body.
I'm sorry, Jose.
Don't be sorry, Dos. It's not your fault.
Yes, it was. If I arrived sooner, if I had been there, if I could have used my influence.
Dos. The world of ifs will only lead you to heartache, as it has led me. I fought for Spain, riding a cloud of ifs, but as with any cloud, the winds change and the haze lifts, and gravity pulls you down to earth.
Robles kneels on the ground. A shadowy figure of an officer appears behind him.
Sometimes you survive the fall, sometimes you don't.
The officer calmly raises his hands over Robles' head and puts a blindfold over his eyes. The officer tightens the blindfold and steps to the side. He produces a gun and points it at the back of Robles' head.
Sometimes you die.
The officer pulls the trigger. A loud pop sounds. Robles falls face forward onto the ground. The spotlight remains on him for a moment. Slowly, the lights fall. End of Act 1. Act 2. The lights rise on the Hotel Florida. It is around noontime, a day or two so after the end of Act 1. Hemingway and Gellhorn are sitting down on the couch. Josie is having coffee. Maiguez is behind the reception desk, filing some paperwork. The silent action continues until, bang! A loud explosion crashes onto the stage. Hemingway growls like a tiger.
God damn it!
I win.
It was past 5 minutes.
It is past 5 minutes now.
How the hell do you know that?
I've been counting. Were you counting?
No.
Good.
Fine then, I guess I owe you.
Don't look surprised. I always win.
Do you?
Yes.
Would anyone like a drink before lunch?
That must be one of those rhetorical questions.
Posada enters from the front door of the hotel.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see no one was harmed from the explosion. It only touched ground a few blocks down. I'm afraid, señorita, that your window...
Yes, I already know.
Un momento, Ramon.
Para la policía, siempre, señor.
Hay un hombre en la ciudad. Por favor, dígame if te amo. Su nombre es Liston Oaks. Entiendo que ha estado preguntando por el señor Dos Pasos.
Sí, vino aquí la semana pasada. ¿Está en problemas con las autoridades?
Eso no me corresponde a mí decirlo. Solo puedo decir que algunas personas están interesadas.
Yo entiendo, señor.
Lo agradezco.
Dos Pasos enters.
Oh, look! It's the resident fascist.
He looks a little drained today.
I would too if I had to kiss Hitler's ass in my dreams every night.
Oh, for God's sakes, Hem, stop it.
I don't stop anything, for God's sake.
Yes, but that's just...
Guten Tag, Dos! I see you've managed to disgrace us with your presence, finally. Gellhorn and I were worried when you didn't show up for breakfast. I figured you were out searching for your little friend's corpse, but by that flaccid look on your face, it looks like you came up dry. Maybe Gellhorn here could use a few of her connections. What do you say? We'll find Jose and we'll dig him up together. You can cry on him. I can piss on him. It'll be the best of both worlds.
Dos Pasos ignores Hemingway and walks to the reception desk.
Hello, Juan.
Good afternoon, Dos.
I'm glad you think so.
You didn't sleep well.
I did, actually. I dreamed I was somewhere else. Just to let you know, senor, I will be checking out of the hotel tomorrow morning. Seems my usefulness here has come to an end. Thank you for your hospitality during my stay.
We will be sad to see you go.
I wish I could say the same.
What's that? Chickening out, Dos?
I wouldn't want to contaminate the atmosphere any further.
So you run! You run like a sissy, which is exactly what your fascist friends in Franco's army will be doing. They'll be hauling their ashes back to Morocco before the year is out. I hope they save a cot for you and a coffin for your friend. Oh, yeah. And don't worry about the rest of the filming. I'd be more than happy to dub your part. How does it go again? Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles, Uberales in der Welt.
Ah, him. You should have been an actor.
What's the fucking use? I can't think of a more interesting role than to play than me.
Dos Passos sighs at the spectacle and motions to Posada that he wants to talk privately. Posada nods and joins Dos Passos in a corner of the lobby.
I need to ask Juan
You don't have to ask. It is true.
everything.
Everything.
You lied to me.
You shame me, my friend.
You lied to me about Jose. You said you didn't know anything.
Ah, but I didn't. There are many, many things I don't know.
Officially.
Officially.
As your friend, I don't expect official answers.
I'm afraid we are trained to provide nothing but
Trained by whom?
circumstances.
You take everything so casually.
I do not know how to take things anymore. It is better just to register them. It will help your sanity.
But why, Juan?
Why was he executed?
Why was he killed?
Why is anyone killed? People live. People die. Some people die on the battlefield. Some people die in a bomb attack. Some people are executed for being a traitor.
A traitor to what?
Ah, now there you have me.
Jose was doing secret work.
Yes,
For your people or the Russians?
yes.
It's not much of an answer.
It's the best one I can give.
I feel like I'm conversing with a wall.
Thank you.
Were there any plans to tell Jose's widow about his death?
I doubt it.
Why? Or do you know?
It would not be prudent.
Prudent.
It is no honor, my friend, to have a husband who is a traitor to his country. Exposing this fact publicly may put Senora Robles and her children in danger. It is much better to pretend Jose Robles was never executed.
Yes. But executed by whom? Where exactly does your government end and the Russians begin?
Ah, my friend, if I knew that, I would be prime minister.
Are you Juan? Are you my friend?
But of course, I'm not your enemy.
Is that all it takes?
These days? Yes. Good journey, my friend. A word of advice. Don't talk to strangers.
That may be difficult. There are more around me than I thought.
That is just as well. You shouldn't talk to people who you know either.
Posada exits to the front door. Dos Passos slowly starts walking towards the front door.
Franco is that way.
Dos Passos sighs in muted frustration and proceeds to the exit. Josie materializes before him.
Hello, Gus.
Hello, Josie.
They've been warning me about some bad barrages late today.
It seems the barrages in here are much worse.
Yes, I understand. I just wouldn't go out if I were you.
You're not me, Josie, which is to your credit. Did you know about Jose?
No. Honest, Gus. I had no idea. I feel bad for him. For you.
I wouldn't say that in front of Ernest.
Oh, him. He doesn't mean to be such a grouch.
You mean a man can stumble upon such savagery by accident?
No, it's just that Ernest has always had to make a splash.
Is he a man then, or a child at the beach?
Probably both.
Yes, probably.
It's really too bad, Gus.
So are a lot of things, Josie.
No, I mean, your voice would have meant so much to us.
Us? Do you have a tape one?
I mean, all the people in Spain, the farmers, the workers, the students, who are doomed if Franco wins. There is a cause out there worth fighting for. It's bigger than you, bigger than me, and all of those people who believe in it. We can't betray them by letting Franco and the fascists win. People trust you, Los. They trust you and they believe you. You could tell them about what's happening in Spain and
What is happening in Spain?
something important and wonderful,
Even with my friend being shot.
despite your friend being shot.
You'll forgive me if I find it difficult to relegate that incident to a footnote in your narrative.
It is a footnote, Dos. A bloody one, but a footnote. You can't let it stain your perception of what we're fighting for. Jose fought for the Republic. He died for the Republic. He was the Stonewall Jackson, shot by friendly fire. That doesn't mean we give up on the country to Franco. The world is too crazy to ignore what's happening. Hitler, Franco, Mussolini.
Stalin.
There's more to this than Jose Dos.
I'm not sure you're right about that.
I don't know those. I only know that no one knows who to trust anymore. It takes a trusted voice to cut through all the lies and the shouts and the...
So I am the great voice that will save Spain.
Yes, you may well be.
I can't believe that.
You have to believe it.
I only have to believe in God, my family, and my friends. At least one of the three cannot be executed.
Yes, but those...
If my voice could have saved anything, I would rather have had it save the life of my friend. It didn't, and it probably couldn't, and after that, nothing else matters.
Please, those. Be careful.
I will, Josie. And thank you.
Dos Passos exits to the front door. The lights slowly fall on the stage. A spotlight picks up Dos Passos after his exit.
At least now, Jose, when my mind talks to you, I can sense where you are. Above all the rumbles of the earth and not caged like an animal in some black hole of a cell. It only looks like we will not write letters anymore, you and I. I can only speak to you in hope somehow you can hear me. It is odd to think that only air can carry my message, and even odder to think now about the message I must deliver on earth. It reminds me of my youth. During the Great War, men would come to the houses of wives with telegrams in their hand. They came only with a message of death and a shoulder to cry on. Nothing much else was required. How painful it is to come with that message when there is no purpose in which it can be framed. There is only gray pointlessness and opaque confusion.
Is
The
that
lights rise intimately on the courtyard. We are back in the apartment of Margara Robles. Margara enters tentatively from the darkness.
Dos? Is that you?
It is, yes, Margara.
Thank you for coming back.
I promised you that I would.
You did, and you're here. But I know your news already.
You know about Jose.
Coco enters.
Yes, we do.
I don't understand it.
A man told me what happened.
Man, where did he come from?
He works with me in the Ministry of Information. He came to me suddenly the other day and whispered in my ear that he knew what happened to my father. He said that the government took him and shot him for being a traitor.
What else?
That is all. The man walked away before I could ask him anything else.
Do you know this man's name?
It's Liston something.
Liston Oaks.
You know him?
Nowadays, all roads lead to Spain, but back then he was a Communist Party official in the States, with the tendency of popping up like a weed when he was least wanted or expected. He knocked on my door a few too many times and tried his very best to recruit me to the party. I saw this man, Oaks, just the other day at the ceremony for the 15 International Brigade. He tried to talk to me, and I ignored him. Do you know where he is now?
No, he didn't come into work yesterday.
They have probably taken him too.
I'm so sorry, Margara.
Coco goes to Margara and holds her. Dos Passos rummages in his pocket and takes out some money. He extends the bills to Margara.
I know you need help.
No, Dos, I can't do that.
You can. Do it for your children.
We'll all be fine. We must be fine.
My father had a life insurance policy.
Yes, but with no official record of death, it is meaningless. I've spoken with the chief of police already. It seems no one in the government is prepared to admit Jose is even dead. I could speak to the minister again, and perhaps...
Let us keep Jose at rest.
We will both be all right.
I understand, yes, but...
I have written to a friend of my father's at Johns Hopkins. You may perhaps know him. H. Carrington Lancaster. He is the head of the Romance Languages Department.
I've heard of him.
He's a good man.
I'm glad to know they still exist.
I have written Senor Lancaster asking for a loan from the university.
How much?
$300.
Have you received a commitment from him?
No. I mean, not yet.
Consider this an advance payment. I ask you to allow me this honor.
Margara and Coco look at the money uncertainly. Margara indicates she doesn't want to take the money. Coco chooses otherwise and takes the money from Dos Passos.
No, Coco, don't.
It's for Marguerite.
Please accept it, Margara. I've never had a chance to give so worthily. I will send more when I've returned to the States. I owe you a present for the last 6 Christmases. Or is it 7?
You were Jose's best friend.
I wish that had been enough.
It was, Dos.
No, it wasn't. Jose has become a footnote in a story he could no longer bear to read. And I think that describes the fate of us all, living or dead. Human beings are becoming extinct, and we don't even know it. We're being cremated in the blinding luster of our own abstractions. The dinosaurs at least left behind their bones, and we leave behind shadows of men. Nameless, faceless, each one as meaningless and vague as the next. Without any reminder that the shadow once had a name and a face and a life that made it unique and human. I only pray we notice the shadows before no one is left to make them. Forgive me, but I will be leaving Spain tomorrow.
You should, Dos. Spain is not your home. Spain is our home, and it is our duty to stay. Besides, Jose is buried here. I don't know where, but he is buried here. I cannot leave Spain without leaving him behind me.
You talk about duty, and I feel like I am without one.
You've performed yours already. You stood by Jose.
That seems so very small.
No, Dos. It is a miracle.
I will write you both.
Margara embraces Dos Passos.
Be safe.
Margara turns and exits.
Goodbye, Coco. I know your mother is in good hands.
She is, Senor Dos. I am my father's son, after all.
What will you do now?
I am going to join the army and fight for the Republic. You don't seem shocked.
By now, I've become a connoisseur of the unexpected.
We are marked now, Senor Dos. My mother, my sister, and me. We are linked to a traitor. Those men could come again, any day, any night, any time. They could come and take my mother. They could come and take my sister. They could come and take me, but I wouldn't be so lucky. If I join the army, and if I can fight for them, the men may not come. I will be a soldier for the Republic, and hopefully, we will be safe.
It didn't work for your father.
And yet, for my family, I must try.
Does your mother know your plans?
No, I'm afraid to tell her.
I think she will understand.
I hope so, Senor Dos. Otherwise, I will be very alone.
Except for God, of course.
I've hardly heard anyone mention God since the Revolution.
Well, he's a fascist too, don't you know?
Dos Passos turns and exits to the courtyard doors. The lights fall on Coco. Some loud explosions sound from the distance. They are complemented by some scattered flashes of light. One flash of light stays suspended on the stage. It lights up the Hotel Florida with a dusky eeriness. All the lights are off in the hotel except for a single, if rather unconvincing, light outside the front door. This light glares briefly at us when the front door opens. Dos Passos enters.
Good evening, Mr. Dos Passos.
The darkened silhouette of Gellhorn is sitting in one of the chairs in the lobby.
Miss Gellhorn, you startled me.
Good.
You're still up?
I couldn't sleep.
I can understand that.
Can you really?
Yes. The bomb blasts are difficult to sleep through.
That depends.
On what?
On whether you like them.
Do you like them?
They are like a lullaby.
And yet you are still up.
I was waiting for you. It was getting late and you hadn't returned to the hotel. It is dangerous on the streets this time of night.
I'd say it's about even.
I hope you were all right.
I was visiting with some friends.
What sort of friends?
Friends of freedom.
Of course.
I'm touched by your concern for me.
Someone has to keep an eye on you.
Thank you.
Besides, I make it a habit to know things.
I suppose you knew the whole time then. About Jose?
That's a fair bet.
It's not fair anything.
You're probably wondering how I knew.
I have a certain idea already.
You haven't a clue. You all think that I sleep with the world, but you're wrong. I just keep my ear to the ground and my thoughts to myself. That combination will take you far. You should learn it. Do you know something else? They're going to win. You don't believe me, but they will.
You sound very sure of yourself.
I am. And when they do win, people like you will be the first ones to go.
The lights fall on the lobby of the Hotel Florida. Lights up on a hotel room. Dos Passos appears behind the doors a moment later. He takes out a set of keys and goes to unlock the door, but in doing so, he discovers the door is already unlocked. Dos Passos opens the door and steps into the room. It seems the lock still works. Why was the door unlocked when he arrived? Did he perhaps forget to lock it? Just then we notice a forlorn figure appear at the courtyard door. It's Liston Oakes. He knocks.
Who is it? Is that you, Miss Gellhorn?
May I come in? Hello, Mr. Dos Passos. I'm glad to see you again.
Liston makes a circular gesture around the room with his forefinger. The room is bugged. It takes Dos Passos a minute to register what's happening, but finally he does. He nods his head slowly and decides to play along.
I'm glad to see you too.
How long have you been here?
About 2 or 3 millennia.
Liston is visually scanning the room for a possible place for bugs.
Will you excuse the state of my room? I was just starting to pack for my trip home to the States tomorrow. Perhaps we should move to another room.
They're all the same.
Would you care to sit down? You look tired.
Yes, it's rather late.
Not too late, I hope. I remember you from a few years back. I believe it was Kentucky.
Harlan County. You and Theodore Dreiser.
Yes, of course. It was after that strike.
You seemed very engaged during the tour and very passionate for workers' rights. I knew then that you were one of us. Or could have been, had you decided to commit. You have a chance again, but your chance is in danger of dying. You are being undone by the associations you are making.
Yes, I have just started to learn that.
Perhaps, but not enough. And so I have come to you now. I have to warn you about the fascists.
What about them?
My friends already know about your association with the fascist saboteur, Jose Robles. You may think that he and his ilk are your friends, but they're not. They are out to harm me as well.
The fascists.
The fascists.
How can I help you?
You can help me by joining our glorious cause for freedom and justice.
I suppose that is where you come in.
Yes, you need someone to save you.
I did not ask to be saved by anyone.
No puppet does. That only shows how much you need a rescue.
Liston begins to move around the room, looking behind and under any object he can find.
Why was Jose executed?
He was a danger to the cause, a danger to everything the revolution stands for. Robles was a nationalist, imperialist renegade. He believed in a lie that the Spanish Republic is all about Spain. He forgot that the workers' revolution knows no borders, no country, no limitations. He lost his faith, and so he lost his life. The revolution is too proud, too great, too mighty to suffer men of no faith. They are a cancer, and like a cancer, they must be exterminated.
Liston has frozen in front of the clock on the wall. He looks at it knowingly for a moment or two. Liston then begins to inspect the clock carefully, looking behind it, under it, on top of it, while...
I see you do not understand, but one day, you will.
You seem very sure of that.
Your friends already understand.
My friends.
Hemingway.
He is not my friend. And besides, Ernest's understanding is inverse proportion to his cacophony.
That isn't true of Martha Gellhorn.
Very little is true of Miss Gellhorn.
And Josephine Herbst.
You mean Josie?
Yes. Josephine Herbst knew about Robles, as did everyone else in your group. The Minister of Information met with a number of people about you. There was concern about what you would do and say if you knew what happened.
Liston freezes, then slowly reaches under the clock and pulls out a disc that looks not unlike a hockey puck. It is a dictograph-like device stored behind the clock and connected to a receiver. Liston puts his finger to his lips and puts the bug back behind the clock.
You seem to have a lot of information.
That's because I've seen many things.
It sounds rather dangerous.
It is. I'm a marked man. You are a marked man.
Liston looks at the clock on the wall and approaches it gingerly. He takes a deep breath and slowly, surely, methodically puts his forefinger on the minute hand of the clock and starts moving it clockwise. The house is set at 10 o'clock, but soon it passes 10:30, then 11, then 11:30, then nearing midnight, Liston stops. He removes his hand and lets the clock continue to run. He then turns and stares resolutely at Dos Passos as if waiting for a cue. The cue comes when, bong! The clock begins to strike midnight with a painful slowness, loud and obnoxious, so loud that it blocks the sound reaching the bug. Liston jumps towards Dos Passos like a marathon runner and whispers with hurried and terrified frankness.
Please, Mr. Dos Passos, you must help me. The Russians are after me and many others. They're killing everyone who opposes them and sparing no one any mercy.
What about Jose?
He worked for General Gorev. He knew about the Russians, and he distrusted their influence. He was seen as a danger, so they killed him, and they want to kill me too.
Yes, but...
And even now, they are plotting to overthrow the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister is an ally.
A puppet is better than an ally.
But surely...
I helped you. You must now help me.
You help me.
I put the address in your coat pocket.
But how...
I am begging you. You must save me.
The clock has finished striking its midnight hour.
Your clock needs to be fixed.
It is already.
What is your answer to my question, Mr. Dos Passos? I hoped you would come around.
Of course. Rather dislike the fascists.
Which ones?
Both of them.
The spotlight remains on him as the lights fall on Liston. The figure of Robles is seen vaguely standing in the darkness, a ghostly presence. Dos Passos cannot see him, but he feels the presence of his friend in the air.
Well, Jose, so now I know everything.
Yes, my friend. And everything is a lot to know.
Too much.
Too much.
I miss you, Jose. The earth is a much lonelier place without you walking on it. I feel like I've lost 10 friends. Now I don't know what to do. I have this man in my room who claims to need my help. Whether he does, I don't know. There are just too many lies. I peel them back, one by one, and I'm beginning to wonder if there's anything behind all those layers that's still worth finding.
There is, Dos. Behind those layers, there is truth. Well, whatever truth may be. It could be a hopeful new future, unblemished by scars for which you are willing to fight and die. It could be the family and friends who inspire your every moment on earth. Maybe it could be that, and all this talk of people and freedom and causes a human life. Just one. Still has its worth. Be it mine, or yours, or his.
The lights slowly fall on the stage until everything is covered in black. A pause ensues, slowly interrupted by the casual sounds of cars on the street and people talking playfully. The lights rise brightly on the Hotel Florida. It is the next morning. Mayaguez is standing by the reception desk. Gellhorn is sitting sphinx-like on the couch. The front door of the hotel opens. Posada enters with a newspaper in his hand.
Good morning, Ramon.
Good morning, senor.
Good morning, Miss Gellhorn.
Don't be too sure. We had a late guest last night.
Poor Dos has finally begun to think like an American. His optimism with his ignorance.
I hate optimism.
What about ignorance?
It has its uses.
Posada approaches Mayaguez and extends him a newspaper.
The newspaper boy left this outside.
There have been raids in Barcelona.
You have read the newspapers already.
No.
Miss Gellhorn gets her information from more accurate sources.
I see certain troublemakers have been eliminated.
That is what happens when a government governs.
It is about time.
You sound surprised.
Only that it took so long.
Ah, well, good things come to those who wait, and those who don't.
They die.
Did Senor Oaks come down yet? He stayed with Dos Passos? I figured as much. My men were watching the exits throughout the night. Certain parties believe it is time to dispose of loose links in the chain. Have you seen Dos Passos?
No, senor, he is checking out today.
He checked out a long time ago.
Hemingway appears.
Good morning, him.
Great morning, Juan.
I'm glad to hear it.
I slept like a baby and screwed like a man.
Would you like some breakfast, senor and senorita?
Immediately. 2 whiskeys and soda. What will you have?
We're out of soda, senor.
Well, it could have been worse.
I'll have a glass of Campari.
I'll have a dripped absinthe. It makes the heart grow fonder.
Mayaguez exits into the office.
I see that Dos hasn't checked out yet. There's no trail of tears leading to the front door. Who knows? I may end up missing the dumb, weak-kneed, sissy-ass son of a bitch. Maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll get an anal fistula to remember him by.
Josie enters. Mayaguez enters with a tray of drinks.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, senorita.
Oh my lord, what's that?
Breakfast.
I prefer eggs.
I'm afraid we are out of eggs.
A few more bomb blasts, and you can lay a few yourself. This gin tastes like shit.
That's because it's Campari.
You took my drink.
Ah, so this one must be mine.
Evans will be here in about an hour for the filming.
Where are we going today?
I vote for up Franco's ass.
Dos Passos enters.
Speaking of being up someone's ass, so, Dos, you're leaving today?
I know you're disappointed.
You can say that again, but don't.
Please extend Evans my apologies. I've not been a very good narrator.
Where are you heading? Berlin?
I'm going back to Katie in Paris.
5-1 she's run away with a French chef.
No, she's on a diet.
You're still amusing sometimes, you pathetic shit. Stupid, gangly, impotent. But amusing. I might almost miss you in my life if you weren't so fucking boring. As things stand, I'll be so goddamn glad to see the back of you. The front of you sure as hell's not doing it for me.
All good friends need some time apart.
Yeah, about 10 to 15 years apart.
Liston tentatively appears.
Oh, my apologies. I would like to introduce you all to my secretary, Liston Oaks.
Did you say your secretary?
Yes, I'm afraid he was delayed in his travels.
Shit, if I had a secretary, she'd have a bigger front.
This is Juan Posada, Chief of Police of Madrid, and some friends of mine from America. Martha Gellhorn, Josephine Herbst, and Ernest Hemingway.
Does it talk to?
Good morning, Mr. Hemingway. I love your books.
So do I.
We must be going now?
Sounds like you're in a rush.
Hardly. I would just like to reach the border in good time. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, yes.
I'm glad we all understand each other then.
Dos Passos digs into his pockets and extends some bills to Mayaguez.
This is the balance of my stay.
Senor Evans has already paid for you.
Yes, but I have helped so little on his film. It would be improper of me to accept his hospitality.
Dos Passos extends the bills again towards Mayaguez. He looks at the money and wearily takes it.
This secretary of yours.
Thought you'd ask about him.
I'd like to know where he came from.
Well, it's a rather long story.
This would not be the first time I've listened to one.
Perhaps, Juan, but I don't have the time.
For something like this, you have the time.
Oh, but I don't.
So he is your secretary.
I believe we've been over this.
Didn't mention him before.
I didn't think it would be prudent.
I see. Exactly how long has he been your secretary?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
The clock in my room is broken.
Seems odd. This new friend of yours.
I hardly think so. I've come to know many things over the past few weeks. I cannot see why a new friend would be the most objectionable of them. The fact remains that Liston is in my employ, and he is coming with me.
He's coming with you.
He is. Yes. To France.
I'm not quite sure that would be wise.
Is he in trouble? Officially, that is.
Well...
So I expect to see papers.
Papers.
Mr. Oakes is an American citizen. I want to see your papers. I'm glad we've resolved this issue. Would you prefer that I be frank? Liston is in trouble with the fascists.
The fascist.
Yes. I appreciate your hospitality, senor. Are you ready, Liston?
It seems this is it, Dos.
Good luck on the filming, Ernest.
I'd wish you a good fuck on your journey, but that hardly seems likely. Come on, girlie. I want some sun on my face. Oh, and Dos, give Adolf my regards. Aren't you going to say anything?
Fuck you, Ernest.
You're learning, you son of a bitch! You're learning!
Hemingway and Gellhorn exit through the front door.
Goodbye, Josie.
Goodbye, Dos.
I will see you back in the States.
Definitely. So please, stay safe.
I will, yes. My dear, dear friend. You know, Josie, you were right before about there being causes greater than you and I. What are we to each other when the future is being built? I certainly hope, if you ever get the opportunity, that you would forget our history, our struggles, our friendship to do what's best for the Republic. Nothing could bring me greater happiness.
Josie exits.
Are you ready?
What game are you playing, Dos?
The same one you're playing, Juan.
But what is it you are trying to do?
I am trying to save a man's life.
All you're doing is standing by his side.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
You may be proven wrong.
Hmm? And what will you do? Come, my friends, the gloves are off. The apple has been picked, and we are all naked before God and each other. You have only a few days before we make the border. What will you do with my new secretary? Will you poison him? Will you shoot him? Will you plant a bomb in his breakfast?
You would know if it happens.
I would, yes. And so would the entire world. Because I will be there with this young man. I will taste his food before he eats it. I will open up doors before he opens them. I will walk beside him, day by day, night by night, until we are safe. Do anything to this man, and I will see it.
Then perhaps you will be harmed as well.
I'm not too worried about that.
You sound very sure of yourself.
I am. Because I'm so very sure of you, and I know that truth is what you fear the most. You all live and breathe behind a sparkling fog of abstractions. Freedom, liberty, socialism, the people. A fog that blocks any light from shining through and showing the abject thoughtlessness with which you treat real, breathing human beings. One day, though, the fog will lift, and people will see the human toll of what you and your friends are doing, and you will be condemned. Before man, before God. For yes, God, Juan, although you may have forgotten, lives on the other side of that fog. Harm this young man, and I will report it to the world using every publisher I know. Harm me, and tens of millions of Americans will hear about it and question why. You wouldn't dare blow away your precious fog by doing something so reckless. For without it, you cannot survive. Time to go.
I'm scared.
So am I. But remember, we scare them more. Stay by my side. Don't leave me for an instant. Goodbye, gentlemen.
I'm disappointed, my friend. I thought you were here to save the people of Spain. You've only ended up saving one man.
I consider that an improvement.
The lights fade slowly, with the spotlight remaining on Dos Passos and Liston, The voice of Jose Robles sounds from some unknown corner of the stage, reverberating from an otherworldly location, safely above the turmoil of the earth.
For as long as I can remember, I dreamed of being a liberator, a savior, a champion of a cause greater than life itself, leading mankind in its onward march towards paradise. But I have learned such men do not always build better worlds. There are other men out there, quiet men, good, but quiet, feeling their way through the darkness of the world, searching for the hand of someone who's frightened and lost. They don't need armies. They don't build nations, yet they're there, hand open and outstretched for someone in need.
Dos Passos and Liston have reached the front door. Only a spotlight remains on the two men. Dos Passos turns around as if he has heard Robles' voice.
Those are the men who make God smile. Those are the men who build better worlds.
Dos Passos smiles and exits the front door with Liston. As the curtain falls, the end.